everyone, welcome back to our channel. Let's start with the news today. General Staff says enemy fired 14 missiles at Ukraine, conducted 40 air raids on March 18. Some 14 missiles were fired at Ukraine and 40 air raids were conducted, but the enemy did not fulfill its main task on the 21st day of Russia's aggression. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported this on Facebook, Ukrinform reports. On March 18 alone, the enemy fired launched 4 missile strikes, 14 missiles, and conducted more than 40 air raids, the statement said. The General Staff said the main task of the defeating the groups of the armed forces of Ukraine encircling in Kyiv, reaching the administrative borders of the Donetsk and Luhansk regions, and establishing a control over the left bank part of Ukraine have not been fulfilled. According to the statement, the occupier partially succeeded in the Donetsk operational area, temporarily depriving Ukraine of the access to a Sea of Azov. On approaches to Mykolaiv, the enemy was stopped by joint actions of divisions of defense forces. The enemy is trying to compensate for the failures in advancing troops during the guerrilla operation by launching missiles and bomb strikes using both high-precision weapons and indiscriminate bombardment. The invaders are destroying the infrastructure of cities, destroying densely populated areas in order to intimidate the civilian population of Ukraine and persuade the militaries and political leaderships of our country to negotiate on enemy terms. During the current day only, the enemy fired 4 missile strikes and carried out more than 40 air raids. The situation in the following directions has not changed significantly. In the Polisia directions, the enemy is trying to hold the previously captured frontier on the Irpin River. The occupier did not take active offensive actions. The enemy is forced to move to the defense at the unfavorable borders and positions, trying to regroup the remnant of forces as well as to establish logistics. It did not abandon attempt to resume advances towards Kyiv and conducts air reconnaissance with the use of UAV. In the northern directions, there were no changes in the compositions of the enemy troops and the natures of its actions. The occupier continued to partially blockade the cities of Chernihiv, shelling civilian neighborhoods in the cities. UAV are actively used to conduct reconnaissance and fire corrections. In the Slobozansky directions, the nature of the enemy action did not change significantly. Attempt to block the cities of Sumy and Kharkiv, as well as attempt to resume their offensive in the directions of Pskov, continue. The occupiers strengthened the group by introducing from the territories of the Russian Federation 2 units of the 6th General Army and the 1st Tank Army of the Western Military District. In the Luhansk directions, the invaders are trying to establish control over the settlement of Bruzby and Popasna, as well as blockade Severodonetsk. In the area of the Rubizna, the enemy fortified position on the western and northwestern outskirts of the cities, making unsuccessful attempt to reach the southern part of the city. Fighting continues for the cities of Popasna. In the Donetsk directions, the occupying forces are fighting in the settlements of the Vrastrostomersky, Krimsky, Aviska, and Tramkashuk. The blockade and attempt to storm the hero cities of Mariupol continue. In the South Bur area, a group of Russian occupation forces is taking measures to equip their position and set up a logistic system. The enemy did not leave attempts to redeploy separate divisions in the Mykolaiv and Kyiv directions. The armed forces of Ukraine are holding back the enemy and carrying out counter-offensive operations in certain operational areas. They launch artillery and rocket bombing strikes on groups of troops and military convoys. This is the end of our news today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.